that we have Lord Nazir, who's made his way up with his mom today to Birmingham. And many people here know of all the fantastic work that Lord Nazir Ahmed has done. And we know the only reason that the media went for him, and even the judges, over a relatively small misdemeanor involving a traffic incident, that he was pilloried in the way he was and threatened with that jail sentence. His real crime is that he has been a consistent, outspoken person and a rare one for that in public life. And we are very, very proud of all the contributions, whether it's on the issue of Sudan, whether it's Pakistan, Kashmir, Afghanistan, Iraq. Lord Nazir has been one of the few voices who have been absolutely staunch in standing for justice. So please give a really warm Birmingham welcome to Lord Nazir.
Salma, Andrew, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum. First of all, let me say thank you to Stop the War Coalition for organizing this meeting. But I think I also want to say thank you to Stop the War Coalition for all the campaigns that you have been running since 2003 right up to now. I was there on 16th of February 2003 when the largest demonstration in the world took place in London, and I'm here with you today as well. And of course, thank you to Salma Yaqoob because she's not only a local hero in Birmingham, but a national hero. I have respect for her, and now that she's leader of the Respect Party, I've just been to Sudan, and the women in Darfur were asking for Salma Yaqoob to be there. You know, when Andrew Murray was talking about the illegal war in Iraq and Afghanistan, I remember everybody making the case. In 2002, 2003, when the government was building up its arguments that they're going to go in there, and we said, first of all, that it would be illegal. He's absolutely right with all the excuses, the democracy that our troops are supporting and the corruption that exists in Kabul. But at that time, everyone said that it would be almost impossible for anyone to win a war, which is illegal, which is immoral, which is outside the United Nations rules. And today, after 7 years of the world's might, when you have ISAF and you have the UN, only 30% of the land is controlled by Karzai, and even the Western media admits that 70% of the land still belongs to Taliban and they have no control whatsoever. So what did the Americans do? When they were losing in Vietnam, they bombed Cambodia. When they are losing in Iraq, they bomb Syria, and when they are losing in Afghanistan, they bomb Pakistan. And that is the reality. The problem is that war, unfortunately, has become an industry for some. And it is also a political tourism for others. When you see people like General Petraeus or this Richard Holbrooke and Bill Gates and even our Prime Minister lining up to go to Pakistan and also in Afghanistan. You know, now Mr. Richard Holbrooke, everybody knows that he's been appointed by Mr. Barack Hussein Obama to look after Afghanistan and Pakistan. He's the same guy who's been actually named by Radovan Karadzic, that when he was massacring people in Srebrenica, that Richard Holbrooke told him to just go away out of public sight and no action will be taken against it. Can we trust this man to be responsible for Afghanistan and Pakistan and what is happening in Sabah? Well, I said Hussein Obama goes to Cairo on 4th of June, when he wants to reach out to the Muslim world and he wants to tell them how fantastic he is, please tell him that when he talks about Jerusalem being the capital of Israel, he needs to say it is the capital of Palestine, and he needs to be fair to the Palestinians. He needs to keep that promise that he was making when he was going round to the American people and he was saying that he'll bring his troops out of Iraq, and when he was saying that he needs to change his policy on Afghanistan, that it's time that he announces a timetable and he announces the date when his troops are going to come out of Iraq and Afghanistan. And I think that the Muslim world ought to be asking him to release those photos from Abu Ghraib. What is there to be frightened of? And then when he promised that he's going to shut down Guantanamo Bay, it's time for him to shut it down and let Afia Siddiqui come back home to the Pakistani people. And perhaps, I said this by the way, I'm not saying this in Birmingham. I said this on Voice of America yesterday, so I practiced this yesterday. And I said, on Voice of America, I said, please also tell him that he's got to stop supporting the dictators in the Muslim world, starting from one in Egypt. So less of this hypocrisy that we want to see democracy in the Muslim world. It's our form of democracy that we want to impose. Well, if you really respected democracy, then what about the respect for the Palestinian people who have elected a government in Gaza and who rightly should be the ones who should be elected? And of course, you know, I'm not so sure about these expenses, whether you're going to mend John Prescott's toilet seat. I think that we've got a lot to come yet. They're going to look at the Lords, by the way, as well. And I haven't claimed for a toilet seat, so I'm all right. And neither did I claim for a chandelier or well, it was the Home Secretary's household that was watching those films first that started it all. And, but you know, our government, can you remember the discussion we had on 42 days, the anti-terror laws? Salma Yaqoob mentioned dozens of laws, or so many laws, 6 anti-terror laws since 2001. When throughout the IRA's era, we only had 1 anti-terror law, which had sunset clauses as well. And it was reviewed and renewed. And in those 6, when we were arguing against 42 days, I remember Ghalib Saab, he's here somewhere, when he organized the first meeting in Birmingham Town Hall, when there was the 2001, I didn't know it was the 2000 anti-terror law in 2000. And it was here that when we met with Gareth Pearce and we were opposing that anti-terrorism law, that it was an organization based in the Midlands, one individual who supported 42 days. In English newspapers on the front page of the Sun, it said that Muslim leadership supports 42 days, and then in the Daily Journal it said he cannot even tolerate 7 days on the second day. But I tell you, what surprises me is the fact that British government has given the same individual £650,000 to spend in Newport to say, I am proud and I'm British. Well, let me ask the British government to spend that £650,000 on the people of Birmingham and the people of Dublin